Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope on this live show here. Today is Friday, what's the day? The 28th of May. Got a great show with you for the night. Hopefully, the Mad New Yorker will be here shortly. Also, let me give a shout out real quick at the very beginning, so I do not forget. My Uber and rideshare drivers from the Uber and Lyft's app. And I'm trying to make sure I've got my notes here. All right. My man Brady, my guy Brady and his family going to Jacksonville. Brady is from here in Nashville. He's a big Nashville SC Star. That's our local soccer team. Got season tickets. Hey, Brady, I appreciate that tip. That made my day, man. Greatly appreciate it. Welcome on the program. Just like I told you in the car earlier today. And also my man Chuck, my guy Chuck from LA. Chuck is a riot, very good personality, big boxing fan. Chuck, appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Also appreciate the tip, Chuck. Very good character. Love to have you on the show. Funny mother effer, to say the least, my man Chuck here, okay? There's been new rule changes that were voted on today in the NBA tanking issue. I like it. I'm going to go over with the Mad New Yorker. The Knicks are in the finals. The Knicks have an injury, and I hate to break that to Carlos, but there's an injury there with Mitchell Robertson and a pinky. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But first, stand by. We'll take our first and only break. We'll be back here momentarily and hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, let's bring up the Mad New Yorker. Hey, Carlos, how you doing tonight, man?
What up? Happy Thursday.
Thursday at last. God almighty, it's Thursday at last. Okay, I got to bring up this breaking news story here that just broke this afternoon. A few stories, and I'll get to the other one here in just a second. But the NBA has voted on this new tanking rule here. I've got so much other stuff here. I didn't get all the information here. I've got 10,000 screenshots here, folks. Okay, here we go. The way Steve Harvey would say. The NBA's Board of Governors voted to pass 29-1, and Memphis, ironically, here in my home state, the only team to vote against it. The anti-tanking lottery form, Prashant Charami, that's the guy of ESPN. Lottery expands from 14 to 16, folks. Here's the key. The bottom three teams receive reduced odds for the number one pick. The bottom three teams receive reduced odds for the number one pick. In other words, you cannot tank your way and to get more lottery balls. That's a very good thing. Kudos to the NBA. All right. The new 3-2-1 system, this will begin next year. No team can win the number one pick in consecutive years. So what happens with, say, for example, like the Orlando Magic did back in the day when they got Penny Hardaway and the great Shaquille O'Neal. That can't happen again. Okay? And no team, this is what really ticked off the Grizzly people, no team can receive 3 straight top 5 picks. So what this says is, hey, general managers, you got to get off your butt and get out and scout. Hey, ownership, you've got to hire You got to hire better scouts and personnel or more scouts and personnel. Either that or you get left in the dust. I like it. It's not perfect. I think it's one step to help the NBA. Other thing, I think that they should change the age limit to 20 years old or at least 2 years out of college with the NIL. I think that would be an easy transition. Beggars can't be choosy. What do you think about that, Carlos? The new rules.
Yeah, I like the changes. I think that they will benefit a lot of the smaller market teams that in the past hadn't had that opportunity because they couldn't get they couldn't get back into they didn't lose enough games to get more lottery balls, like teams like Portland and you want to avoid what was happening with teams like Sacramento and they almost 3 years in a row they got more than they had like top 5 picks with the number 1 pick. So you want to avoid those kind of things, and that's good. But I don't understand why Memphis voted against it.
Well, they want to tank their way to prosperity. Remember the process with not Daryl Morey, with the 76ers when they got Embiid. They try to tank their way to get prosperity. It didn't work out. They had some busts there like Ben Simmons, and they got Embiid, but Embiid's been hurt his whole career. I like that, man. I like that. And now make it easier for teams to get out of I think another thing is these guaranteed contracts and having the contracts, having them match up and all that. They got to do all that nonsense, to get better, faster. You got to make it where, I can trade you a few first round picks for a top notch player. I think that matching salaries is nonsense.
Yeah, and I think that's coming soon too. Like after this next NBA,
CBA, whatever.
Yeah, collective bargaining agreement, CBAs. I think that's gonna slowly somehow or another get. I'm not saying it's gonna disappear, but they're gonna make it something else. Like a lot of teams lose money on some of these guys that they sign and they get, they get a injury like Embiid, and then they're sitting for a season or two, and what happens is they're not tanking, they just don't have enough depth, and they paid the player way too much money, and they can't get players to recoup. I think also they should next time add these holdovers that they have from the European League and Asian leagues. Some of these draft picks that sometimes get held over. I don't like all that mess, but it's slowly getting there. And I we as fans, all we can do is like just nod our heads, clap, and say, okay, let's see what happens next year after the finals.
On to the next one. I'm going a little bit out of order because there was some breaking news, and it just makes me just irritated to no end. I don't know how this happened, but the Knicks center Mitchell Robertson, according to Yahoo Sports, and of course Shams, that's ESPN guy, has suffered a broken pinky finger, and there's no timetable on his return. Game 1 of the finals will be Wednesday, June the 3rd. That really, I don't know what the extent. My opinion on that is, if you could find a way to play, put some kind of splint or whatever you want to call it, a cast, anything he can do to play, not unless there's some kind of ligament damage or nerve damage where he can't play. He's the secret weapon to beating a Spurs team. What's your thoughts about that, man? That's pretty annoying.
No, just look, you got a team that has finally got rhythm going, finally playing team ball. Mitchell Robinson, of course, was getting a lot of defensive rebounds, a lot of offensive rebounds, making some blocks in there. But if I'm the coach, man, I just go with who I got on. It's been next man up anyways. Just go with the next guy up. And then the most important thing, if you have to play small ball, it's okay, because being quicker on the inside is only a benefit for you with this team, with either team you're going to play, whether it be San Antonio or Oklahoma. You got to actually match speed for speed. So being a smaller, playing a smaller team is actually going to be to your benefit. Yeah, you're going to lose, like I said, that depth that you want to get more offensive and defensive rebounds and blocks, and defense. He's a little bit of an enforcer. You lose that, but he was not going to be that big of a benefit if you have to make adjustments anyways. He causes a lot of quick fouls. Sometimes
But you don't
he's
think that his defensive presence is that important, or
No,
are
I'm
you
not
just
saying it's
thinking
not that. What I'm
offensive
saying is that
standpoint?
there are enough players on that team throughout the season that have been able to step up. They've been able to play without key players due to injuries, and this is part of what their mentality has changed. Right, the mentality on that team now is next man up, and they can just go forward, and they're gonna miss part of what he brings to a game, but they can make adjustments, and the adjustments that they need to make anyway were to get smaller and faster, because the teams that they're going to play are going to be running teams. So
Okay. Now, the Knicks have made it to the finals first time since 1999. Is they've played so good. They've played at an astronomical level. They're playing at such a high level. At this point, would it be a disappointment if they lose the finals to an OKC or a San Antonio Spurs?
if you live in New York and you bleed blue and orange, yes. If you're not from New York and you don't care, no. Here's the thing: the West has been more in the last 10 years. They've been
More
more.
dominant conference.
More of a better conference than the East Side, and they've been a little bit more shooter happy. They've been a little bit more like finishing games better off than some of these Eastern teams. Remember, Boston got lucky with the championship by a final shot there. So I mean, and not to take away from their championship, but so I'm not sure how much luck we got coming out from this on this side here in New York, but everything has been hard work and greediness, and that's how New York's that's how they live their life, and that's why this team means a lot to them. But I'm trying to be a realist and not just a fanboy, and I just say this: whoever comes out of the West is going to give them issues, and they've had issues with both teams this year. They didn't have an issue winning the interleague championship, but it's not the same thing, and we can't just think in our heads because we beat these teams in front of us that was enough to make that team more competitive and ready to play these either of the two teams that will come out of the West in Oklahoma or San Antonio. We just got to be real about it. It's just a different basketball, different approach, and the Knicks haven't played any teams like OKC or San Antonio in this playoffs. They just haven't.
Yeah.
And just another thing to throw out there, they haven't lost a game in like 31 days or 32 days or something like that.
10 straight, I want to say. And you know something? I'm with you. I said it before the season started. It'd be great to make that next step to get to the finals. But they're playing so well. It would just be a major disappointment. I mean, that game, that series, I didn't think much of the 99 series. I thought it was a rushed season. It felt kind of like an asterisk. It felt like the COVID year a little bit because they had the lockout. But 94 was the big one. A lot of talk about the OJ chase that and the OJ stuff. But, I was really disappointed because if you look at the Knicks, people that are our age and older, they gave everything they got to beat the Bulls. And then Jordan finally leaves and you think, okay, this is it. Because mind you, the Rockets were not in the finals prior to that. They beat Portland. They beat the Suns. I'm talking about the Bulls now. Here, and it was not the Rockets that they had to go through to get there. It's very unfortunate to beat the Lakers. The Rockets just kind of come up out of nowhere there with Keem, of course, who was actually picked over Jordan. Going back to that, but.
Robert Horry, man. We don't give props to Sam Cassell and Robert Horry.
Big shot, Bob, who's got about 6 or 7 rings through 3 different teams. So I would be really disappointed. I'd like to see it like my man Chuck, who was Uber ride the other day. It would be good for the league if the Knicks win. Their fans are into it. The league likes it. I would like to see them win. They've got celebrities, but they're not pompous type of. They're not Lakers-like celebrities. I like your Ben Stillers of the world, and the Spike Lees and whatnot. Even Steve Sharippa, who's not an A-list guy, but he was on the hit show Sopranos. He's a huge Knicks fan. I just think it'd be good. I think it'd be good for the league. And you know what? But it'd be a major disappointment because you don't know if you're going to get back. They're actually an older team, man. If you look at Brunson, you look at Carl Anthony, they're older than the Thunder, and they're way older than the Spurs. They're old enough to be the Spurs' dad, but that's a different story.
Which was my argument, even when they had Thibodeau as a coach. I was like, they got a young team. Use these guys that you just drafted. Mix it up a little bit. And then what they ended up doing was trading back and trading out some of these younger players. And I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. Brown's doing his thing. The team is, what I like is that the team has transitioned the whole season through, and they have grown and they're playing together better. I wrote an article about how if anybody's going to beat the Knicks, it's going to beat themselves. They can't sit there and expect Brunson to score 25 plus points a game and just be okay with that. They can't do that. And I don't know if I put that in the article or not, but that was another thing in my head that I was just like, that I've been watching. I'm like, man, if Brunson scores 40 points, great. If he scores 25 points, great. If he scores 50, great. But he can't be the only one scoring points, man. And you can't just be throwing up threes.
Him and Ananobli's got to step up, and they have though. Ananobli's getting back from that injury.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I mean, look, they're where I thought they would be, which I said they at least make it to the last round of the playoffs. I didn't know if they was going to beat whatever team was going to show up. I thought they was going to see Detroit, but they didn't see Detroit. So, but they did well putting away the Cavaliers early, and now they have rest. Unfortunately, they have this injury right now, but I don't think the injury is going to derail their mentality, their play, or even their grittiness. They are focused. They're fun to watch. They're being ultra competitive, but my only thing is that they haven't played any of these teams with the capacity of the Western Division teams, and I'm not sure if that's going to be something that's going to affect them.
Okay, cool, good deal. This next series, it's a classic. I got a few things I want to talk about with that per se. First of all, tonight I do like the Spurs to win at home and push it to the Game 7. I picked the Spurs to win in Game 7. I don't know if they're going to win in Oklahoma City, but I do think they'll win tonight. I think Victor Wembanyama, like Shaq says, he's going to play hard and aggressive. Love that aspect of it. But remind me to show you a few clips because this feels like a Celtics 80s Pistons type of rivalry with the way they're playing. A Victor Wembanyama with your former Nick Isaiah Hardestein and, of course, Chet Holmgren. What's your thoughts about tonight's game? It's going to be playing here about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm glad they made the adjustment to add Hartenstein in. Because it allows Chet to be more of a power forward because he's not really a grinding type of center. He's the tallest guy, but he's not gonna bully you.
He's up there. He is tall. He's not that much shorter than Wembanyama. I'm talking about Homer.
And to force him to play Wemby inside and deep, that's not his game. But Hartenstein, he will play anybody anybody taller than him or shorter than him. He don't care. So that was a good thing for a good addition, and it's changed the game. Now you have two big guys, and San Antonio only has one big guy who can score and bully you. So it's made it interesting. I still do think that San Antonio is deeper than OKC. Okay. I don't like that SGA is like a light switch. You flip him on, you flip him off. It's like he's on, he's on, he's on, he's off, he's on, he's off. And I don't like that inconsistency from him as much as he's an MVP and he kind of turns it on sometimes in the third quarter. Yeah. But if the OKC wants to win this series, they need to be on the whole game through. He can't just be in and out of the game. And a lot of people say that he's the best player they've seen play and deserves the MVP. And I'm kind of with that. I'm not gonna jump on that train yet. He didn't take over a game until towards the end, and I don't. That's what I don't like. So, and and like where Jordan and Giannis and some of these guys and Kobe, they would just third quarter came in, it's like we're gonna score, and it wasn't. You saw that they was gonna get the ball, or they put the ball in the basket, or they'll give you the ball to put in the basket. The SGA he flirts a lot sometimes with I don't think he has defined his role yet as far as he's going to be the man and he's going to take control of the whole game. Like you can even Tatum does that. Tatum will be like, you know what? I'm taking control of this game. And because as much as he's humble,
he's the criticisms that Tatum will not take over. That's more Jaylen Brown late in games when he's not trying to get to the rim.
Well, when they won the championship, it was Tatum who like took over the game. Like,
yeah, that's true. Okay.
You know, but he just I think he does that whole Tatum, you know, should I give the ball to Brown? Should like that Tatum that didn't win the championship.
Right.
You needed you're an MVP candidate, you're an MVP winner, 2-time winner. You need to be your team needs to be you are the team, and you need to make sure that you controlling as much as you can as at both ends of the basketball court.
Yeah. Let me read you an interesting stat I got off Get Up this morning about SGA. If they win tonight, or if they win in Game 7, I think it'll be on Saturday. Players who've got NBA, listen to this closely, folks. This is a mouthful. They've got MVPs and finals appearances, NBA regular season MVPs and finals appearances in consecutive seasons. This is a rarefied group here that if they win, this is the class that SGA will be in. Steph Curry from 14-15 to 15-16. LeBron James from 2011 to 2012, 2012-13. Michael Jordan, 90, 91, and 91, 92. Larry Bird, 83, 84, 85, 86. And Bill Russell, 1960, 61, 62. Only one I would put even close to SGA, I would say Steph Curry. Probably won't get some blowback for this, but I always thought Steph Curry is more like he's a very good player on a great team, okay? He's the greatest three-point shooter of all time, but he's not an elite player. I think that's the same thing for SGA. As of right now, he's very young still. His resume's still growing. His career's still going. He's a very good player. What do you think about the fact that SGA could be in that class of players I just named if they get back to the finals, which we don't know if that's going to happen or not? But
I think we're gonna show our age here, and ageism is going to matter here in this discussion. All good. But this is how basketball has evolved. I'm going to have to accept SGA if he makes that jump. Now, is he a Larry Bird, LeBron James, Steph Curry player? It's not that he has to be those guys. It's that he is that guy in this type of NBA play. Okay. So I got to give it to him because he's doing the job. He's doing what he has to do. But again, the job he does and what we want to see, because we've seen basketball now and this whole timeline.
Yeah, 35 years.
Yeah, we're like we can watch a game that's people say it's competitive, and we're just nodding our head like, just stop shooting threes, throw the ball inside. The basket's wide open. We see all the small things that they don't teach you in AAU basketball anymore. Yeah. However, we have to accept the fact that this is how the NBA is now, running around shooting threes, and SGA has catapulted his play for that type of basketball that there is. And if he gets onto this list of people, then he has earned it. And that's as fair as I can be without trying to devalue anything that any of those guys on that list or guys not on that list have done. Because when somebody said something like that, I was like, man, there's a couple players in the NBA who haven't gotten to the finals, and I could put on a list like that. Guys like Tracy McGrady, guys like
I would not put McGrady. I want to say, isn't he on the NBC halftime show?
No, but listen. I'm talking about
Brady never won a playoff series.
Yeah, I know, but it's him carrying the Raptors. It's him trying to get that team to another level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Paul Pierce, some of these guys were
with the Magic, wouldn't he?
You know, like
he played with the Raptors too. Brett McGrady.
McGrady, yeah, he started with him.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then Paul Pierce, and then maybe a guy like this other guy who played for the Timberwolves, Garnett. Like, they've had seasons where they put the team on the back and had great numbers, and they're not going to be on this kind of list because they didn't get past the playoffs.
They didn't had to have numbers around them. Okay, another thing I want to cover here. This feels like by the way, the ratings are way up. I mean, highest ratings. Check this out, folks. Check this out. And I'm usually bashing NBA, but hey, you got to call balls and strikes, man. If it's good, it's good. They had 10.3 million people watched Game 4, the most since 1999. Now, Jordan numbers, those are astronaut. 25, 29 million. That's 98. I don't know if they ever get back to there again. They might. But right now, so this rivalry is turning into a big rivalry, and it's very young in this. I'm talking about OKC, San Antonio. ESPN caught a clip where Wemby is sending in the goons after OKC players. I played last week, mind you. Let's do a bookmark here. I showed you on video and the audience where the OKC player is elbowing Wemby in the face here. No flagrant call there. Remember, Wemby does the flagrant. He gets kicked out of the game. Okay, here is Wemby, and I'm going to show you a comparison of how the Pistons played the Celtics, which is a great documentary. That's a Pistons documentary from back in the day. But watch this one right here. This is from the other night. Wembanyama here.
Olynyk checks in as well. Fans react as Wembanyama checks out on a 4. Showtime presented by AT&T. Recap this one. 139.
I would say so.
Look, everything that's going down here with
the Thunder. Here's a shot.
Biombo hard foul on the game.
These are 2 shots.
Okay, so he's sending in the goons after him. These guys, listen, if you have watched these games, which I have, we said they're going to have to get physical with him. They're getting up under him. They didn't show anything to Hartsting. That guy right there, McCain or whoever, they're getting up under him. They're elbowing him. We're not seeing a lot of these shots, but Wemby's feeling them. Listen, this kind of reminds me of the Pistons being the OKC Thunder going against the mega talent player like a Wembanyama. Other words, but watch the Pistons come at Bird similar using guys like Bill Laimbeer. Here's a flashback for everybody.
Okay, here are the quarterback.
Wrong one. I got it. Hold on. Hold it. Here we go.
I never really ever liked Laimbeer in any social situation.
No.
Yeah.
And it's because he was a dirty player. The 80s, when I played, there was a lot of cheap shots. If you go back and watch the Pistons playing against Chicago, Mike and Scotty were getting pounded. And a lot of it happened after the whistle. Like you're going in and you get fouled, and the guy goes ahead and tries to, that's a free foul. Ricky Mahorn, he'd hit you and all that, but he'd hit you, you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
But he didn't try to maim you.
Right.
Bill tried to hurt you. And, he was one of them guys, you shoot a jumper, he'd try to slide his foot underneath your ankle so you twist your ankle. And that's why Parrish
Did he really used to do that?
If you watch any of our old games, Parrish was always twisting his ankle against the Pistons. So one time I shot a jumper and Laimbeer did it to me, and I stepped on his foot, but I stepped on high and twisted my ankle. I don't know, a quarter or two later, he was shooting that jumper. I slid mine in there. That's the last time he ever did it.
Really?
Yeah. So Laimbeer, I mean, they were total bush league. Did you see that clothesline that he did? Now, nowadays, you get suspended for that, But I do think it's getting close to that. It's right there on the line. It's not that. You can see the difference. 80s basketball was like football.
Yeah. No. I mean,
you see the similarities, no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and those guys right now, they're suffering of back aches and leg aches. They can't walk straight. And then you see these younger guys who just retired. They sitting up straight with the suits all nice and people like Carter and then like McGrady and like Carmelo Anthony, they're not gonna know the pain that
Do you
these guys.
think this Spurs rivalry can be similar to that?
Yeah,
in years to come.
yeah, and I think also you can kind of put in Dallas and the Warriors on that side, even Portland. Those teams are kind of young, are trying to get young, and those teams are going to be, it's going to be a fun division. This I feel like it's going to go 7. I mentioned that I think this was going to go 7 games.
You said 7 too. Okay.
Yeah, and but man, aside from all that crud, this is the back and forth. I don't know what it is about the number 10, but it's like after you're up by 10, these teams are like, yeah, we can go down by 20 and still catch up. And I'm like, oh my God,
you get too complacent when they're down 10.
Oh my goodness, and you can't eat while watching these games because you get like gas and that heartburn, man.
Indigestion, you're like, what's going to happen next here?
The thing is that we both of us, we appreciate basketball. We like the competitiveness.
I like that level of competitive. So they really care. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're like, I'm sure you're screaming at the coach, like, take that guy out. I mean, I one time I've just thrown like some wings on the side and was like, I can't eat this crap right now. And and my wife is like, yo, calm down. And I'm like, you understand that, they're down by 10 points and they just act as if they're down by 5 points. It's like, it's crazy. It's just, but it makes the game interesting. It's different now, Robert. The game is different now, but it's
a lot quicker now. It's a lot more pace. It was more half court then. And the Spurs, and Reggie Miller mentioned this the other day, and I didn't like that strategy. He said the Spurs are rushing these shots because they don't want OKC to get in their defensive sets. And sometimes you get bad shots off when you do that. When you have a phenom like a Wembanyama, I would try to make him more of a passer inside so he can hit open players like a VIA Shaq. That's what it kind of reminds me of a little bit, although his body type's different and everything. But Shaq, you hack a Shaq. This guy, you hack him just to kind of throw him off and get him kind of banged up. He was 12 for 12 from free throw lines. He's got to be aggressive tonight. I think he plays great tonight, by the way. I think he gets 30 points and they win. But I'm thinking about game 7. It would really be disappointing if the Spurs lose tonight. But game 7, that's what I'm thinking about. He's going to have to remain aggressive and try to get Hartenstein in foul trouble. If you're Spurs, if you're OKC, you keep playing your game because you got the experience and you got the depth. You got those 2 centers. You got your Hartenstein and your Chet Holmgren. You kind of got like the Tim Duncan, David Robertson thing going there. With
that's right. And once it's Chet Holmgren by himself, you could tell that it takes him a lot. It takes a lot out of him. He gets his mind gets out of the game because he has to play more defense, and then he doesn't shoot. He just passes the ball and he wants it back. And like it's just I can tell you this: he's not a good center. He's a good player, but he's not a good center, and that's okay. You can be 7 foot and not be a good center, but somebody has to take that role. And Hartenstein is the right guy for that role. It would be great had the Knicks not got rid of him because now that Mitch Robinson is hurt, he would have been perfect to fit right in.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I almost forgot. Switching gears here. Before we run out of time, which you're doing pretty good on time, to the NFL. Okay, I made a big stink about it. I might be a little old-fashioned, but remember, this time last week, I said Jackson Dart is way too much of a celebrity quarterback. He's doing too much. This was before he came out and introduced the president. Now, listen, it's hard to turn down the president of the United States to be introduced. I understand that. But looking farther into it, he's going to the Met Gala. He's got to be the center of attention. Going to the Kentucky Derby. I found out later that he's dating this social media influencer girlfriend who I think is kind of pushing him to do this sort of thing and get there on the forefront. And they've been air quote dating since October of last year. Ironically, when he first started being the starter there with the New York Giants, maybe they getting married and live happily ever after. But My thing is he's distracted. He is a celebrity quarterback, and I want to play this thing for you. And you tell me, is this too much? Or is Bill Parcells, who put this out about 12 years ago, a little bit longer, he says his quarterback commandments. Now, the sound, Carlos, is not, in the audience, it's not very good, but you just listen closely. You'll be able to hear all of it. Listen up. Bill Parcells, I don't think he would approve of this.
Okay, here are the quarterback commandments. Number 1, press or TV, agents or advisors, family or wives, friends or relatives, fans or hangers-on. Ignore them on matters of football. They don't know what's happening here. Number 2, don't forget to have fun, but don't be the class clown. Clowns and leaders don't mix. Clowns can't run a huddle. Number 3, a quarterback throws with his legs more than his arms. Squat and run. Fat quarterbacks can't avoid the rush. Number 4, know your job cold. This is not a game without errors. Keep yours to a minimum. Study. Number 5, know your own players. Who's fast? Who can catch? Who needs encouragement? Be precise. Know your opponent. Number 6, be the same guy every day. In condition, preparing to lead, studying your plan. A coach can't prepare you for every eventuality. Prepare yourself. And remember, impulse decisions usually equal mistakes. Number 7, throwing the ball away is a good play. Sacks, interceptions, and fumbles are bad plays. Protect against those. Number 8, you must learn to manage the game. Personnel, play call, motions, ball handling, proper reads, accurate throws, play fakes. Clock, clock, clock. Don't you ever lose track of the clock. Number 9, passing stats and TD passes are not how you're going to be judged. Your job is to get your team in the end zone, and that's how you're going to be judged. When all around you, number 10 this is, when all around you is in chaos, you must be the hand that steers the ship. If you have a panic button, so will everyone else. Our ship can't have panic buttons. And the last one, don't be a celebrity quarterback. We don't need any of those. We need battlefield commanders that are willing to fight it out every day, every week, and every season, and lead their team to win after win after win.
I think he violated 2 of them commandments there. What's your thoughts about that? Is Parcells outdated with this NIL, modern day guys being somewhat celebrities coming in? Or is that, hey, that still stands true today?
I think with Parcells, now this is a guy who went to the Super Bowl with 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, Hostetler and Phil Simms and won.
And so if I was a young guy in high school going to college, I'll follow those commandments. The problem is that once you're in college and you haven't been following those commandments, you can't just start following those commandments, right? So there's a certain age group that I would push that on to, and that would be probably 16, 17, and then push it on those kids.
Yeah.
Even 14, 15 maybe, because they're freshmen, freshman, sophomore high schools. And then, because celebrity can be anything right now. Social media has made it out to be, so it's a different time. So, I mean, the problem in New York is that you're a celebrity once you are on a sports team. And they're going to talk whether you talk back or you do anything anyways. Yeah. And I think you got to be man enough and be your own person and own personality and have your own ideals and either ride the wave or you back out and just don't worry about what the weather's going to be like. Just stay inside.
You think he's just riding the wave?
I think he's riding the wave because I believe this, and I'm not keep saying this.
Is this stuff a distraction? I think it is. He apologized.
It's just who he. It's his personality. It's what he wants to be.
Yeah.
And because that's what he wants to be and that's who he is, it's okay. I accept that. As a fan, I accept it. Other fans have to learn how to accept that. Sometimes you have to accept people for who they are. Now, because he's that type of personality, he ain't gonna. I don't feel like he's gonna be a top 10 quarterback. I've said this a lot. I talk to people all the time. I'm like, listen, New York fans especially. let's take the latter end of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And let's just say this guy, the Chargers quarterback, what's his name?
Phillip Rivers?
No.
Justin Herbert?
Let's just say Justin Herbert is bottom of that list of the top 10, right? Let's just say he's kind of almost at the bottom. Would you want him as your quarterback or Jackson Dart?
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. I would take him over Dart. Yeah.
Right. So this is what I'm saying to you. This is why you don't have a future quarterback, because if you had to make a trade today and you take Herbert over Dart, that means that this guy is I keep telling people, you don't know who you have, but they have to build them up. New York is not a place to build up quarterbacks. It's just not. Eli Manning was like, I'm not going to San Diego. So he knew that he wanted to be in New York.
Yeah.
Right. And his dad was like, if you're in New York, this is what you do. And his dad helped him more than anybody, more than his brother. Because Peyton is Peyton Manning. But Eli Manning, even at the Hall of Fame speech, Michael Strahan was talking about when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. He said there was one of the last people mentioned was Eli Manning. He said, I looked at this guy's face and I talked to him and he had no emotion. He had no response. But I knew he was going to go out there and he was going to battle with us. Right? Yeah. So this is the kind of personality you need in New York as a quarterback. And if you're high fashion, high music industry, high anything but football, you're not going to be successful.
Right. Now, and there was an outlier in Joe Namath. Yeah, he did win that one Super Bowl. But you also look at guys who want to jump on getting commercials and really grasping the fame. Guys like Robert Griffin III, just players who come on the scene like that. I mean, you maybe throw in a Jim McMahon, but he had like the greatest defense of all time for 1 year with the Chicago Bears. Folks, I'm going way back to a lot of listeners probably even born yet in 1985. But he was a flashy guy, also had the headband. But most of your successful, like you just said, I'm going to clip that. That's a good quote. Your top 10 quarterbacks, they don't have that personality trait. I listened Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Do you think Peyton Manning, with those 20-something interceptions in his second year, was going on Saturday Night Live and doing all this stuff after he had that awful first year as a quarterback? Tom Brady didn't do a commercial till like 2003. He already won a Super Bowl going into his second Super Bowl. And then he took about 10 years, 15 years off and started going into stuff towards his end of his Patriots and then in his Tampa Bay career. But my thing is, you got to lay low. You got to bond with your teammates the first few years and really lean into it. This guy's already gotten hurt. He is 15 and 3 touchdown interception. I'll give him that. That. But I mean, I'm like you. I think in the back of your mind, if you're management there, you're thinking we're probably gonna have to look for another quarterback in another year or two, depending on this guy's maturity level, which is not good right now. Now Baker Mayfield bounced back. He was very mature when he came in, calling out people. He did a lot of commercials. Thought he was going to be a bust. He rebounded. But for the most part, guys that try to do that, they don't really pan out long term to be very successful.
It's okay to have bravado, man. It's okay to be like
Ben Roethlisberger did. Yeah, but he tightened it up.
But he's a Giants quarterback, but the Giants haven't won anything yet.
Yeah,
so.
You're introducing the president, and you've played like 12 games.
No, but even that.
It's not like the Giants won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from the whole this situation, I mean, he's introduced the president before, anyways, and nobody said anything. This is the second time he did it.
So, he did it before?
Yeah. It's just,
I guess because you're the Giants quarterback, and listen, as far as like the players having to apologize. Listen, that's a total different topic there. I mean, it is his prerogative, but he does know this is an intense situation. He knows in the back of his mind that's going to be a distraction. He did it anyways. I think because of that social media influence, and I'm doing my air quotes like Chris Farley, influencer girlfriend who always got to be in the limelight. I think she I think she has a lot to do with this. Now, a lot of people ain't taking this angle, but I'm like, why is this guy at the Kentucky Derby wearing these crazy stuff? Why is he at the Met Gala? I mean, and Cam Newton was another bravado guy. Well, what did Cam Newton do? He folded like a cheap suit in the Super Bowl. And we never had 2 consecutive winning seasons in a row or something like that.
Look, it's tough, man. Like, I would say this, even if it's not his girlfriend, and if it's stuff that he wants to do, great. You're in New York City. You want to take advantage of being in New York City. I get it, but just just make it about football for now. And then when you start winning, and you're in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, and you win something, then I mean, I think
even you can host Saturday Night Live. Yeah,
I think even Eli Manning wasn't in too many commercials until after he was an MVP Super Bowl QB. I don't. Maybe he might have been maybe in 1 or 2 for Toyota, but I think that was after he won the Super Bowl. To be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was several years, 4 years in the league. I want to say he won in 7, and he was drafted in 03 or 04. So it was a few years, not his second year in the league,
But I don't think he ever went. I don't think he went to a Met Gala until after he retired. After he was close to retirement.
And the Met Gala is like some of the corniest. When I was living up there, I didn't understand it then. 20 years later, I still don't understand the Met Gala. I got one more big topic, man. This Brandon Sorsby. Listen, folks, this guy, he got denied by the NCAA. I sound like a wet blanket today, but still, I'm just calling balls and strikes, okay? This is a player for who is he for? With Texas Tech here. The NCAA has denied the Texas Tech request for reinstatement for eligibility due to he's also at an inpatient care center. That's for gambling. And let me read out the actual charges. Sorsby admitted placing hundreds and cumulative thousands of bets on college football, the NFL, and other sports over the years. The NCAA updated rules mandated permanent loss of eligibility, including his own team. So that I can understand it with the betting and everything. So a lot of people talk about, he's going to go to supplemental draft. This guy's really talented. Let me play. This is a audio soundbite, folks. Let me play this audio soundbite of Todd McShay, who I got a lot of respect for. Todd McShay used to work with Mel Kiper and ESPN scouting and everything for players here, if this thing will come up. But McShay has some good stuff here on Sorsby, okay? He said, listen, this guy is extremely talented. If I can get it to come up, of course, now I cannot get it to come up, but I'm going to try to do it anyways. I'm waiting. I'm killing some time while it loads. I could not get this video to download from whatchamacallit here. But basically, he's saying this guy's got more athleticism than an Arch Manning. He's got arm strength. Here it is. Hold on. Let me see. It's coming up right now. You there, Carlos?
Yeah.
Okay. It's loading in now, folks. We're having a little technical problem, but I want everybody to hear this because this guy could change somebody's organization. But before it plays, because it's taking a minute to come up, mind you, supplemental draft players have not necessarily been as, panned out. You've had success stories from supplemental draft players. Hold on, let me see if this comes up. It looks like it's trying to come up now. Stupid phone and technology, folks. Here we go. Possibly. But you got guys like Bernie Kosar, Chris Carter came through it. But you've also had busts recently. Josh Gordon. Why did these guys come through the supplemental draft? Because they had problems in college, okay? Ahmad Brooks, he was a linebacker, went to Cincinnati. Remember Terrell Pryor had the tattoo gate thing. He had problems in college. He didn't pan out with Cleveland. Josh Gordon really didn't pan out with Cleveland long term. So you see the commonality. Cincinnati drafts these guys. Ahmad Brooks, the linebacker, got into some trouble, kicked off the team. Josh Gordon Terrell Pryor. You know, you're going to get a lot of guys. Okay, let's see here. Where's he at? Boy, I tell you, this stuff, when you get this stuff off here, this really, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Just bear with me, folks. I want you to hear this because McShay's got a lot of credibility. He used to work with ESPN. Now he's with The Ringer, which is Bill Simmons' thing here. And I want this thing to come up here, and I may have to just research it. Todd McShay on Brandon Sorsby. Here we go. It's coming up just a second, folks. It's just a small, quick bite here.
He's got this suddenness to him. All of a sudden, the energy on the field changes when he decides, I'm taking this ball and running. And it's like this acceleration and a little bit of twitch and then power at the end of a run. You can't coach what he has, but you can coach up what he has. The league has coached up Josh Allen. The league has coached up Jalen Hurts. The league has coached up Lamar. So here's where I am. He's more physically gifted than Arch. I trust Arch more. Not even just throw out the pedigree. Make him Arch Smith. The character stuff, I've talked to Sark. I've talked to Arch myself. I trust Arch more. Sorsby's more gifted. If I'm the Browns, if we have the quarterback coach and we have the contract the right way, we have the psychologist putting a stamp on it. If we can get aligned, I think this guy's worth it. And if that's the case, I get to draft him, and I'm doing it with a first-round pick in whether it's late June or July, whenever this supplemental draft happens, if it happens. And I'm doing that because I think he's got a chance to be special.
Okay, I don't think that's just a hot take. There's some truth to it. He's been talked about as one of the top quarterbacks. But like I just said, history says these guys don't work out more often than they do work out per se. But I'll say this, and I'll let you have the floor here. If you're a desperate general manager here, okay, Cleveland just fired their coach last year. They got a new head coach here. They might fire Andrew Berry, the general manager there. And you think, in the back of your mind, I'm probably going to get fired next year anyways. Why don't I roll the dice with this guy and draft him in the supplemental draft? What if your Jets tried, even though they got a new general manager, but they got a hot seat coach there? Something like that. What's your take on this Sorsby situation from 2 or 3 different perspectives? I'll let you have the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if he's talking about this kind of potential, if I'm Green Bay with the quarterback that I have, I'll go right away. Because this sounds like
you spend the first round pick on this guy, a supplemental, which you'll lose it next year if you use it in this supplemental draft. That's why he talked about Arch Manning per se. You go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll do it because they have coaching staff there. They've always had culture there. And this guy's like a Brett Favre, right? This is what he's saying. He's got that twitch. He's got, arm. He's got a lot of potential. And Green Bay's a good black hole place to try to have a guy like this. I wouldn't want to see him in New Orleans. Like, look, if this was a top 20 quarterback pick, potential, and you're one of those teams that have a quarterback but need a backup, this is the guy you pick up because once everyone knows there's like I think it's like 80-something% chance that your quarterback will miss at least 2 games in the season, something like that, something crazy like that. So if I'm one of those type of teams, I get. But if I'm New York, New York don't need to touch him with a 10-foot pole, man. Let this kid go.
Which New York? The Jets or the Giants?
Both. Just New York isn't a place to develop quarterbacks. Period. No matter who you coach.
Stick a guy with a gambling problem in New York City. That's interesting. Maybe stick him in great. I'll tell you what. If he does not go air quote first round in the supplemental draft, and you got a quarterback coach like the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, I'm not really. I'm not going to really reject that idea that you just mentioned. If you take him in a later round in the supplemental draft, he's worth, a roll of the dice there. Maybe he can do out of Jordan Love after sitting.
Who's the backup for Justin Herbert? He's going to get an injury or two. Who's the backup?
Yeah, and then he's working with. They've got a great offense up there,
Yeah.
and
Or even
Daniel and Jim Harbaugh, former quarterback, that can mentor him.
Even Detroit, like, your quarterback isn't. He's gonna miss 1 or 2 games. Put him in a place where he can back up somebody but isn't that has a decent culture and developing.
You want a quarterback. Now the Eagles like to take big chances, even though they
And the
drafted
Eagles will probably be taking him because they don't. For some reason, they don't trust Jalen Hurts.
I talked to an Eagles fan this week, and he says that he would move off Hurts in a year or so because he sees the fact that Hurts is not, taken to these. He's not taken to offenses and everything. He's got his service, and he don't know how well he's going to play without A.J. Brown, who's likely to be traded next week, by the way. Today is the 28th. He's going to be traded here in a few days after June the 1st. That'll be a big topic for next Thursday. Yeah, I wouldn't take him in the first round. That's my whole point. But I'm predicting that there's a good possibility that Sorsby, somebody who's thinking, hey, I'm going to get fired next year anyways. You know what? My family I could sure use another contract if Sorsby looks good in camp or comes in for a few games in the 2026 season and kicks butt, whether it's for one of these bad teams here I just mentioned, a Cleveland Browns or a Jets.
Or maybe he can stay in Texas. He could play Houston. He could play in Dallas. It
just depends on when they draft him. But you're saying you would not draft him in the first round, or you would draft him in the first round?
I would get him if I'm one of those teams in need that have a good culture and a quarterback coach. New York does not.
You would draft him in the first round and waste that 27 pick.
I mean, what are you gonna? If you're in a team that has a starter and you need a backup, you might as well get somebody who's gonna have those kind of abilities.
Right. Okay. So you really trust McShay there. By the way, 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year. The last season he played. Going over his stats real quick.
I've seen him play. He kind of reminds me of a
Cincinnati.
He reminds me of a Brett Favre / this guy from you just mentioned him earlier, the Bucks quarterback.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, he kind of got
he's a taller player, I want to say, than Mayfield. So
yeah, no, but I'm saying like the get up and go, like I'm gonna take off and like Brett Favre used to do, and just kind of throw it while he was running. Like,
yeah,
that changes a game. That's a game changer, right? And so sometimes you need a guy like that.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, Sorsby, that's going to be a story to monitor. If they have one of these supplemental drafts, it's not he can go out next year in next year's draft. That is to be continued. Anything else do you need to plug? We had a great show tonight.
I had a family issue. I'm gonna try to get this show put together in the next few days.
Okay.
But man, it's been tough watching baseball with some of these things that the Yankees and the Mets have been doing. But at least there's one winning team in New York.
The Knicks, baby.
It's still, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So
it's a long marathon.
Real quick, R.I.P. Claude Lemieux, NHL player drafted by the Canadiens, won 4 Stanley Cups.
Wow.
I really dreaded him on the Devils because he made it tough for the Rangers in the playoffs, and he did a really great job for that Colorado Avalanche team. He made that team a special team. He's going to be greatly missed. If you're a hockey fan, you know this guy. And it's just 60 years old, not too old, but I'm glad I got to see him on the glad to see him play, and then also I'm like, my condolences to his family and his friends and all those who were a fan of this guy.
Also, let me ask you this. I'll get back to you off camera or whatever, but next Wednesday, can you come on next Wednesday instead of next Thursday? next Thursday, the CMA Fest is going to be here. I'm going to be driving Uber for that. Going to be a lot of business here. I got to pounce on it, and I'm trying to put back some money here. Could you come on next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m.? I think that would be possibly the first day of the finals, but the finals don't come on until later on anyways.
Let me confirm that with you by the morning, and I don't think that'll be a problem.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Another good show. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you,
and the Mad New Yorker, everybody. Let's give everybody a big round of applause. What'd you say, Carlos? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Enjoy your games. Enjoy the weekend. It's going to be crazy.
Everybody's working towards the weekend. Appreciate you, brother. All right, everybody. I'll be back here. I'll be doing a recorded show on Sunday. And, of course, I'll be back next Wednesday with the Mad New Yorker. Going to be going over some things with him. Probably that A.J. Brown trade is going to be the big one topic. And, of course, the NBA Finals Game 1. We'll know who the opponent will be for the New York Knicks. Have a good weekend, everybody.